Yeah, we at Mercedes are focusing very much on the customer experience topics since several years now, because we see, especially in our customer segment, customer experience is really a big thing, not only on leather, metal, and rims and stuff like this, but also more on the digital side as more now. And that's where I come to my point today, where I would like to share a little bit like what are we doing, especially in our user interaction field, using more and more AI technology to build up more user experiences on different levels. And you see here Hey Mercedes. For those who don't know Hey Mercedes, that's our voice assistant. And as voice is getting more and more important, especially for using the car's capabilities during the drive, but also beyond, this is one of our major fields where we are focusing on to put any kind of technology inside that can leverage the in-car use while driving. Before we start, I would like to just give a little glimpse like where we come from at Mercedes of digital user experience, and then I will talk about what our special experiences now, especially within this year, have been by using recent technologies in AI for our user interaction.
Back in the day, voice control was like, and this was the first dashboard. Our first interface was a stick, came with the invention of the car, and turned into steering wheels like this, or this. Dashboards became design icons. Steering wheels became status, wait, joysticks? Your car lets you sing along to your Durans. So sorry you had to buy it all again on CD.
What's it?
We gave you controls, screens, buttons, early mobile phones, and then Bluetooth. Look, no hands. We made the dashboard hold your coffee or your popcorn. Things moved fast. We put the whole world on your display. Today, our cars go electric. And now, you could talk to your ride again. Hey, Mercedes.
What can I do for you?
Here, Mercedes.
Yeah, I think this video shows quite good that, especially in the user interface era, times is changing quite fast. And even this video is not just a recent one. You see also bigger displays, but as I said before, voice interaction is getting even more important. I just came back recently from China, where even this technology is even boosting more than in Europe or in the US. And just to start a little bit, here you see our roadmap. I mean, Mercedes has been the first one integrating voice as an interaction modality inside the cars nearly now 30 years ago. And as you see here, the industry evolves quite heavily during the years. I think our next most important milestone was 2018, quite some time ago, after we started, when we put the first AI models from NLU side for natural language understanding inside our cars, so that you didn't need to press the button to start the system, but using just the voice by activating. And what I want to talk today is our recent experiences and achievements for this year, which brings the user experience even on a next level. What do I mean with this? Natural recognition, natural language understanding is not a new thing. That's what is already there. And most of the voice assistants, and even also we focus a lot on putting more and more functionality inside, so that at least any kind of function that someone wants to use during the drive can be also taken by voice interaction. But what was actually missing is the naturalness of the user experience. So, and this is what we see also out of our data, that, I mean, the most recent used features are navigation, are media, and also telephony. Somehow the classical ones where people are used even during the decades to use voice as well. But all the new stuff that have been putting in, we see that it's really hard for people to think that, okay, this is also something that they can do and they can approach the car about. And why? Our research showed it's because of the accessibility. Even we communicate like what the car is able to do. It is really about the capabilities, how people approach the car or the voice assistant itself. And this is something I would like to deep dive a little deeper later. And also, I mean, the big thing was this year definitely the large language model introduction, or the putting live of this technology, which we also took as an approach, how we can use it for making the voice interaction inside the car even more conversational. But when we talk about direct speech, what does it mean? I said it before, we started with a switch to be taken to start the voice interaction. Then we introduced the wake-up words, which is also recently everywhere in the market. But we said, and even after using the products for some time, that's somehow getting also a little bit annoying. You always need to wake it up. And if we compare it towards natural interaction with humans, if you have somebody standing next to each other, they wouldn't call the name every time you want to talk about something. And that's what we call direct speech. We wanted to get rid of the wake-up word so that the customer inside the car can always say exactly what they want to do. For example, open the window or drive me to work or call my boss or something. So this is what we mean with direct speech, where we use just recent technologies in order to get rid of these trigger words. Because in our understanding, this is what makes the voice interaction still as a machine-like interaction. You need to trigger something that you can then directly access it. So by enabling direct speech, it is also quite normal and natural that you would like to not only say one topic at a time, like drive me to work, or you would like to maybe get into the car and say drive me to work and play my recent music. Yeah? So that you can also combine things together, which really makes the interaction also more human-like. And this is the first thing I would like to show in a video, how this feels like now inside the car, before I come to the bigger part of how we use ChatGPT in our recent cars.
Drive me to work.
I'm calculating the route for you now.
Turn on seat heating.
Seat heating is on.
Play radio energy. Hey Mercedes, turn on massage and set ambient light to red.
Understood. I'm activating the massage for you. Red. Always pleasant.
What is the speed limit?
This stretch of road appears not to have a speed.
When will I reach my destination?
You are expected to arrive at Mercedesstraße 120 unter Turkey, Stuttgart at 3:18 p.m.
Call my boss on mobile.
Understood. Calling Schumacher on mobile phone now.
Yeah. What you saw here in the video is some examples like this kind of, you can combine things, you can directly talk to the car. And I mean, the challenge here is that the system needs to get to know what's relevant for it and what not. Yeah? Because if you are maybe talking inside the car, it should not trigger up always if you even come close to the intent that somebody should do. And this is also possible by using recent language models that we trigger directly throughout some so-called rejection models, because we need to build up now a second part of our natural language understanding models, which is, I think, state of the art. But we also needed to build up now models that can trigger and can evaluate what's relevant for me or not. And this is something that we tried out newly, and we started now our launch with the more like first case of that one person sitting in the car should really try it out. And we are now even in the evaluation phase, because this is what we just recently launched to our cars, how people interact with it, how people really use it, and what we can maybe gain out of insights out of the current car usage. And then once we see that the technology really gets evolving, we also definitely plan to enable that for also more people inside the car. But when we talk about conversational capabilities, we started the journey right after, let's say, the publishing of the large language models have been taken in February this year. And in our strategy update, which has been taking place right 2 weeks after that announcement, we also presented already a first POC of how we can integrate ChatGPT as a conversational model for enhancing use cases inside the car, but also to use it for classical use cases like navigation, for example. And at that time, the media echo, and you see here one of the big influencers in the US who took that as a chance to comment on this already. We saw quite big media echo, which brought us to the point where we said, okay, let's not just do a POC, but let's bring something to life as early as possible.
Mercedes-Benz experimenting with ChatGPT AI chatbot in cars. Is that any good? Yeah, I want to talk to my cars, Will. I want to ask questions.
Yeah, you always do that.
I always. Couple of goofy questions. What's the best way to make scrambled eggs? I want to talk to my car like that. That's exactly how I want to talk to my car. Because I get bored. Sometimes I'm listening, but sometimes I'm just, I'm just inquiring.
It's just conversation.
I'm just inquiring. Yeah. If you're in an unfamiliar city, you could ask Mercedes, what's the best Thai restaurant in town? Pretty standard question for an in-car assistant. In our case, we asked, what is the worst restaurant around? The car paused for a moment, noted that different people like different things, and then scoured online reviews to give us a name. That's pretty cool. Because of context and conversational aspects. So it can come in and say, hey, to be clear, there is no dedicated worst because everybody has their different tastes.
What you commented on is, I think, exactly the core where we see that we need to go into that direction, because what we see out of our even custom studies is that the classical domains are all fine, but customers really expect more than just the model use cases, and they would like to also take the time inside the car to use it for more things than just for the typical things that you're doing normally when you're driving the car, like finding the restaurant, finding a POI, or listen to some music. And that's why we looked into large language models quite heavily. And we identified 3 major areas where we would like to use large language models in getting our customer experience to the next level. The first one is quite easy, because that's where the large language models are made for, creating text. Yeah? Creating text is, I would say, the quick win of just leveraging the voice output onto more vivid prompts, and to really engage here the customers, even to speak more also to the system. So, for example, if you want to eat pizza and you ask this as a natural intent, we can already take the results out of our POI search, for example, and put it with the large language models into a more natural voice output, even helping the driver on their driving task, not to look onto the display anymore, but really getting the major input already via the voice output. The second one, and this is, I think, what also the influencer just talked about, is about reducing white spots. Currently, the systems are modeled. Each use case is modeled, and that is also quite a heavy effort, I would say. Plus, it is also very effort-driven to also have providers being connected to our ecosystem. And that's where also the large language models can help us to ask any kind of questions, and you find some answers inside the internet, which the large language models really can prompt out, and can also answer questions that we see already also in our data people are asking. But it would be really effort-driven to catch up each and every single question people are putting inside our intent as of now. And therefore, this is also something that really will significantly help us also raising our customer satisfaction, because what we see as a top issue, and that is not only on our side, we see that also inside the industry, is that people really struggle with this kind of limited scope. And with limited scope does not mean that the feature list itself is small, but people would like to just, as I said before, use that time with more things that the normal feature capabilities of cars will tackle. And this is definitely something that we see in our customer research, that with this we can really leverage also the customer satisfaction, and even, I will come to that later, also maybe the engagement. And it brings us also new capabilities for even creating new domains. For example, if you want to chat about the destination, you're not sure where to go because you're going to a new city, you don't know what's maybe the best Thai restaurant there or another restaurant. You can really start about chatting about destinations. You do not need to know exactly what you want in the first beginning, but you can talk and conversate about it. But what we also encounter is, and that's definitely the question that we raised very early, saying, okay, wouldn't be an approach that this kind of technology can replace the old existing stuff fully? And we came to the conclusion that this is definitely not the case. So our strategy is that we would like to combine the best of both worlds, because if you see the legacy systems here, like Hey Mercedes or even Siri, Alexa, Google, they are good in finding the right information, yeah, as I said, because we, from our end, we are experts on navigation. Yeah, we find exactly the right places, even if you put in your intent in a very clear way. But what we are not so good is to really have variations of building out the voice out, because here, as said before, we need to model them, and this is quite effort-driven. For sure, we can also use large language models then to pipe that through a variation engine or something. But that even would be more effort than using large language models, for example. But on the other hand, we tried also quite a lot in what if large language models would take over this task. And if you look into the US, into big cities, that would quite work well. But if you look to the broader scale of the landscapes, here, for example, there's an example out of our area where we just wanted to ask for an Italian restaurant here nearby, and even the voice input with large language models can be taken on a really nicer way. So it's really starting to hallucinate. Yeah, that means this restaurant you see here is just not existing, and so. We want to really combine both. We want to use the strengths of text input and also text output generation out of this AI models, and combine it with our grounded information out of navigation, but also even if you are asking for something. The large language models currently even are still hallucinating quite a lot. Let's look what GPT-4 and other versions of it will enhance this, definitely. But our experiences here also show this is something that we really need to tackle, because there's also the clear fear that if people would trust in what our voice assistant will output, we can also really lose that trust in when we are really just piping through the results that we're taking out of the large language models. So we took this as an early stage. We integrated the ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo large language models inside our voice assistant, and yeah, in a really speed time of 3 months. We made it happen to build up a so-called beta program in the US. Why in the US? Because there the large language models for US English are quite more mature than in the rest of the world. And we use this kind of beta program because exactly of these kind of hallucinations. We said, okay, we want to provide our customers a first experience and to learn out of this approach, how users will use it, what users will think about it, and what we even need to tackle further. And therefore, we created this beta program where people and users could have the opportunity to sign in inside our Mercedes Me app. Or they could even start this within the car. They could say, I want to join the beta program. And this is what we set live now since June 15th. So now it's nearly a half year where we are running this program, and we are getting already quite some interesting insights out of it. Finally, we enabled nearly around 1 million cars, 900,000 cars inside the US market, existing cars driving out there. So we didn't need to have any kind of onboard update for this. And we started really learning what was the feedback out of the customers. And therefore, first of all, I would like to show the video, what this is about.
Hey, Mercedes.
How can I help?
Navigate to Carlsbad.
So here you see already an existing use case, navigation.
Route guidance to Carlsbad.
This is still the classical approach.
How's the weather in Carlsbad?
Same for the weather. And with this, we want to show, okay, we just integrated. We didn't replace the system with the large language models, but we integrated it fully.
I feel like digging my feet into the sand. What beaches would you recommend around Carlsbad?
So this is, for example, now a new use case. This would be an intent that you would normally need to model in a very effort-driven way.
Carlsbad has several beautiful beaches that you might want to check out. One option is Tamarack State Beach, which is a popular spot for swimming, surfing, and sunbathing.
And what you hear here now is also, besides the POIs itself, which are on grounded information, that means these POIs really are existing. Yeah? So it's not a hallucinated list of something. We also can get then back some information during the ride, where you can get some background information, and you can then better choose what you would like to take.
Navigating to Tamarack State Beach.
Hey, Mercedes.
How can I help?
I feel like exploring after the beach. What museums would you recommend around the area?
One moment, please. If you're looking for museums in the Carlsbad area, there are several options to choose from. One option is the Museum of Making
just another
Music,
example, but that means you can also follow up questions by having the context, and which is also something that now with large language models is possible to continue with.
The California Surf Museum in nearby Oceanside is a great option if you're interested in surfing culture and history. I hope that helps.
So as said, we are running this now for half a year, and what we see out of the public comments is that, and this is also quite an interesting insight, that they are not only the, let's call it, really celebrative messages and people really enthusiastic about it. There are definitely, but there are also people who are really not seeing this as a big step, because they are expecting this to run now, yeah, and that's where we really need to look into, okay, what are really the benefits we can gain out of this technology, and bring this more to a customer satisfaction. But what are the learnings out of our data? Again, hallucinations are remaining, yeah, and this is where the user experience, what you saw right now, is a first step. Yeah? Also, the UI could be much more attractive and stuff like this. But as we are just using the onboard system, and we just did the cloud update here, that was something that will come up now with more updates in the future. But the core thing is that we already made it to really ground the information, and as just said before in the example, that we don't pull through hallucinated output out of the models. And even looking into GPT-4, which is in a preview version available as well, this is not fully excluded. The second topic is higher engagement. And this is really interesting because we saw out of the 900,000 cars, there are nearly 200,000 people who registered and signed up for this program. So quite a lot. And we saw out of their usage that they are really more engaged, not only in the new domains, which is general knowledge and small conversations, chit chat and these kind of things, but also that the classical domains like navigation, radio, and stuff like this really are increasing significantly. We're talking about 33 to 35% more usage of people who registered for this program, also in the classical domains. And this is, I think, an interesting insight where we see that, okay, people really get more engaged by using such kind of a more conversational technology. And I think we are now really about to decide not only to prolong this program, but we are already also on it to build up functionalities based on the large language models, and will provide this also to our global customers on a very soon level. Yeah. So therefore, that was my presentation for today, to give a little insights about what we are doing in AI technology in terms of leveraging the customer experience, especially for the voice assistant. And we are looking also further in different other areas of the UI. For example, I think you're all aware about picture generation, also music generation, and these kind of things, where we definitely see also potentials to especially provide our premium custom segments a very special experience here. Thank you very much.